What is the most ridiculous thing you have seen at a party? We threw a party that got way out of hand and too many people showed up. I go in my living room and a girl is in the couch petting a dog. I ask whose dog is this? She says the people who live here. I reply I live here. This isn't our dog. A stray dog had been walking by and noticed a party happening and just walked inside and got on the couch and was being pet all night by drunk people. Some jackass did 14 jello shots in the span of an hour thinking they weren't all that strong. Then that jackass decided to puke in the kitchen sink and all over the front porch. The vomit was this nasty. Congealed mix of vodka, jello, and beer. Then that jackass left the party and walked home with only one shoe, no phone, and missing his driver's license. That jackass was me. Walked into my bathroom to find my friend, who is a dwarf, blowing his load on the birthday girl's face. He had a bigger DCK than I expected. Big house party many years ago and we notice a guy going through the fridge. As we're watching him from across the room he grabbed a full bottle of Italian dressing and chugged the whole thing. He walked out like it was completely normal behavior. Drugs are bad. A drunk guy in a full gorilla costume sitting on a couch outside sees a drunk guy in a full banana costume riding by on rollerblades. They both immediately stop and turn towards each other. And without a single word spoken, charge full speed at each other and begin wrestling. About a minute later, both get up, winded, and the banana guy rolls off into the sunset, never to be seen again. Arrived late to a HS party. Walk up the driveway to a chair being thrown out an upper floor window. Walk into a split entry. Dudes are upstairs holding potted plants, dropping them onto the heads of anyone going downstairs. Girl whose parents owned the house is passed out. I go up. Friend hands me a beer. Don't even get a sip before cops are everywhere. Ran out back. Buddy hid the beer in a pile of firewood. Walk around front. Cop checks me out. But I am sober and had no booze on me. I drove my buddy's car. We went for pancakes. After we ate, we went back to get the beer. Someone had taken an axe and cut the deck off of the house. We found our beer and hauled ass. Monday morning, there was a huge investigation into who was at the party, trying to figure out who did the damage. 1990 was a simpler time. I've seen someone uninstall the sink of a bathroom at a house party back in high school. They brought their own tools and took the time doing so. Edit. I know a video of the party exists. If I find it I'll post it for you fine people. 3 guys tag teaming a 40-year-old overweight woman who was married with children. And she was the manager at the local Domino's. Shortly after arriving at a party, the sensitive guy with the acoustic guitar shows up. 15 minutes later someone took the guitar and smashed him over the head with it, creating a large gash that bled profusely. The attacker then proceeded to run off into the night with the guitar and was never apprehended. It wasn't a good night for the musician. I guess someone wasn't a fan of Wonderwall. Half the partygoers gathered on the roof ceremonially destroying a 4-foot tall statue chandelier thing. They threw it off the roof and then everyone in the backyard either took a piece to commemorate the event or further destroyed the pieces of the statue. At another party some guy set off a firework in an empty beer bottle and held it while it went off. Blood and glass everywhere. From what I heard the guy was found an hour later passed out in the front yard clutching his hand. Edit. There was another time at a house show where 50 people ended up huddling in the basement in silence for 20 minutes because a neighbor had called in a noise complaint and the cops showed up. Half the partygoers left after but the band went back on. I went with my girlfriend and her friends to what was later revealed to me as a gay frat house. My girlfriend went to the bathroom for a while and a bunch of dudes hit on me. I felt special. Nice guys. Your girlfriend? Come on. We're leaving. You. But these guys are nice. They say I have kind eyes. Someone I know spent 2 hours trying to put a pumpkin in someone's mailbox. He wasn't just pushing it in. He started punching it. Couldn't believe the stamina on that person. It sounds boring compared to the stories here, but it was one of the funniest things I've ever watched. Of course everyone spent the first 25 minutes trying to get him to stop. But after we gave up and just watched, it became hilarious. You've heard of strip poker? We were playing strip Red Rover. We were all in our 30s. Sent one poor girl to the hospital with a busted knee. I was sitting on the roof and a guy said he wanted to dive through the window to get back into the house so he would look like James Bond. He ran to the window and dove right into a closed window. Cut his arm pretty bad and he just said "Oh shit." I thought it was open. I should stop doing cocaine. Edit. Kid smoking a catnip joint. The house owner was also selling rolls of toilet paper to the guests if they had to use a bathroom. I was at a house party where this guy called Nate was sleeping on a carpet. Eventually he somewhat woke up. Said, "Name. Nate. Cod name. Unknown." Puked on the carpet and lied back down. Straight into his vomit. Probably the girl with the 4-year-old son who still breastfed him. She said she could squirt milk across the room. Then proceeded to show us. I will forever know her as lactating Tracy. Invited to a party by a furry. We did know that she was a furry. We didn't know that it was a party for furries. We get there and there's a guy getting a tail butt plug put into his ass in the middle of the floor. Inches from people who aren't paying attention to it at all. Those people were playing Magic the Gathering. The people in the backyard were playing with a high power laser identifying stars. We didn't stay long. Yeah. Some dude thought it is okay to throw up on my best friend Kat during the party. Kat was actually kind of cool with it. My friend wasn't. I remember someone heard some cops at the front door and decided to jump out the window leading to the backyard to get away. Probably should have made sure the window was open first. From what was to be just a noise complaint turned into an ER bill and paying for a new window. I thought butt chugging was just a joke from some frat bro movie I'd never seen. Nope. People do it. Voluntarily. Who aren't pledges or rookies or in any way being hazed. Someone pouring wash soap on the floor in front of the back door. Sick dude sat on a lazy boy sipping margaritas and watching people slip and fall. A totally uninterested guy sitting on a chair reading a paper and drinking a can of beer while a very drunk couple were having sex in a bed a few feet away from him. He kept trying to talk to them about funny stuff he was reading and they kept shouting at him to duck off. As you can imagine, I only saw a few seconds of this and heard more about it later. This was ridiculous but honestly ridiculously cool. This dude showed up to a big house party of like 125 of us with his service dog. Not just any service dog though. A giant ass Great Dane with a makeshift army pack thrown over him that carried beers around for people at the party. He brought me a beer or two. What a good dog. Definitely watched my friend feed the dog at least 5 hamburger patties at the end of the night in our drunken haze. There are service dogs and then there are service dogs. Girl masturbating with a beer bottle on the host's little sister's bed. Friend had a party in high school and walked in on a guy pulling his pants up quickly. A girl fell through a ceiling at a house party when I was in college. That was pretty wild. I was once at a big indoor techno concert in Spain. Imagine this place was packed. Good vibes. People dancing and having a good time. We're having a good time too. Suddenly, we all felt small drops of liquid on our legs. We stopped to look around. And we see this drugged up dude pissing all over the dance floor. And behold, an hour later we see the same dude from distance being dragged out while lying on the floor for doing the same thing again. I swear people do the most ducked up things under influence. My buddy was throwing a New Year's party and it was pretty wild. Some people he didn't really know were their friends of friends, that sort of thing. A dude and a girl he didn't know went into his bedroom and locked the door. He was not having it. He bangs on the door and the guy yells duck off. My buddy's a pretty mild-mannered guy, but without a second's hesitation he takes a step back and kicks the door wide open. We pulled them out and walked them out the front door. He replaced the door frame the next day. Edit. For the people asking why he didn't just unlock the door, I honestly can't remember if it was possible to unlock from the outside, but my buddy definitely has a bit of a door kicking fetish. Once I saw him accidentally close his locked front door behind him with the keys in the house still. He realized immediately, turned on his heel, and kicked the bitch in. He'd already had someone out to unlock it after doing the same thing a week before and didn't feel like waiting, lol. Back in high school, we went to a junior house party as seniors. There was a junior football player who was hitting on one of the senior football player's girlfriends while he was out back in the pool. When the senior kid came back, his girlfriend told him what happened. Everyone overheard and started yelling, "Fight, fight, fight." The junior kid heard all the commotion and came running over to see what happened, and all the people at the party pushed him into the center of the group and made a classic fight circle around him. He started crying instantly when he saw the senior boy and his girlfriend walk up and got on his knees and started kissing the senior kid's feet. Everyone stopped yelling fight and the entire house went silent as everyone was confused what the hell just took place. I couldn't tell you what went through the senior kid's head, but he started laughing and walked away and everyone had a WTF look on their face and then went back to the party like nothing ever happened. So land sharks are pretty common. You carry a naked person through a party with a frisbee clenched between their cheeks. Normal. Except one time. One of my friends was on the fence. A sort of do I or do I not dangle my dong throughout the whole throng kind of thing. So his condition was that the 4 people carrying him, 1 per limb, also had to be naked. And so 4 naked people carrying another naked person with a frisbee in their butt through a party was probably the craziest. Or close enough. Edit. People seem a little baffled by my, partially, tongue-in-cheek use of common and normal. You see, my freshman year of college, upperclassmen managed to convince the freshmen that it was in fact common and normal. We believed them. Which, in turn, one of my friends pulled down his pants, slipped a condom on and just started taking a wank in the living room. At least he was safe. Never know where that hand has been. This one redhead girl would always take too many shots and wind up stripping down naked and ducking somebody on their car outside. Every time. Saw a guy snorting coke on a dorm room floor. Someone said something funny and he laughed, spraying a cloud of coke. He started licking the carpet. Edit. This was in the 80s and he was using a small mirror. That said, I also know some of what happened on that carpet and I wouldn't have walked on it barefoot. I've told this story before, but when I was in college I was in a fraternity. At some point we started partying with some international students because we met some of them at a campus event. 90% of them were Brazilian. So, I was one of the sober bros watching the door talking with one of these Brazilian guys and a chick came up the stairs. And without even saying anything, she grabbed his hand and dragged him into our little coat supply closet next to the door. About 10 minutes and some uncomfortable sounds later, they both come out and he gives me a wink. She continues downstairs and the guy and I resume talking. Not even 5 minutes later a completely different chick comes up and does the exact same thing to this guy. I thought this was hilarious. But I was also slightly jealous of this guy's apparent affinity with women. 2 guys that I believed were straight were very much naked together in a bathroom. Maybe they were comparing ancient Greek warrior poses. Someone snorting lines of speed off another dude's abs. Was at a party when I worked at a ski resort in New Zealand where there were 4 naked girls on top of a table in just ski boots dancing and kicking beers in every which direction. Oh, and some guy literally strapped into a snowboard to crowd surf through the entirety of a packed house party. Ski life. Best life. Edit. For those wondering, it was a house party in Wanaka where close to 200 people from 4 or 5 neighboring resorts showed up. You could hardly move and they had 3 DJs playing live sets in different rooms. NZ knows how to party. Girl wanted to make a revenge vid to send to her parents. So she sat in the middle of the room on all 4s and let any guy duck her while she filmed it. Sorority girls are crazy. Girl got super drunk at party. So we put her at the toilet. Come back 10 minutes later and there's sh*t, PSS and puke flooding in the bathroom floors. I guess after that she got it all over the carpet outside the bathroom and the owners of the house had to get new carpet. We called her the party pooper after that. Edit. Thanks for the gold, kind stranger. Not a party but a college story. My buddy was in his dorm hallways with another friend painting something for a freshman class they were in. This guy walks up to them clearly blacked out of his mind and asks if they were freshmen. They obviously say yes since they were in a freshman dorm. The other guy just says welcome to college. Picks up their can of paint and starts drinking it. Walks away without saying anything and they never saw him again. I was at a frat party at UCLA, nothing crazy until about 3 in the morning. Downstairs the DJ was still blaring music. So I did was all drunk teenagers would do and followed the music. As I walked downstairs I saw about a dozen people standing in a circle. When I finally made it downstairs to see what all the people were standing around, I saw that there were 2 people just having sex in the middle of the dance floor. It was really awkward, like reverse cowgirl. The people having sex knew that other people were watching. I'm not sure how long it continued on, but the funniest part was the DJ was shining a laser on the dude's butthole the whole time. I didn't stick around that long after that. Standing in bathroom line with a friend. She asks to borrow my chapstick. As she's uncapping it, she still has a drink in her hand. Cap comes off a little hard. She accidentally throws her drink back over her shoulder. All over the chick behind her, who freaks out, demanding to know who did that. Friend turns around, says oh my god, someone spilled a drink on you, and uses the situation to bring other girl into the bathroom and clean her up. This defusing the situation and jumping the line. 300 like. One time in early college, we partied all night at a friend's house back home after the end of the semester. Around 4 a.m. We could not find one of our friends. He had wandered off. But we knew he couldn't have gone too far as he didn't drive and we were in the middle of the country. Finally found him a few minutes later in the bed snuggled up to the host's grandma. The most eye-opening thing, something I shared here in Ask Reddit quite some time ago, was a college party at a large off-campus apartment. My date at the time and I noticed that the crowd kept getting smaller and smaller. But no one was saying goodbye. We finally observed people going into a bedroom at the end of a hall. So went to check it out. The room was dark, crowded, and just enough light to see all sorts of things going on, and not just couples, but singles from the party doing whatever with whomever. We left as discreetly as possible. But the imagery from that event is hard to forget. Stumbled into a gay bar in NOLA for Mardi Gras. Went to take a PSS. Went the wrong way. And opened up a room with more people ducking than I've even seen in any PRN. It was intense. I once walked into a house party and a girl came up to me and my friends and said if you're injecting then throw your needles out of the back window. Asterisk. We decided that wasn't really a party we wanted to be at and left pretty soon. No one wants to party with litterers. Used to go to school with a very tall lanky kid who was very quiet and uncomfortable. He never really talked much but he used to pop over to my place on weekends when we all were partying. He used to come with 60 peppers in bottles and he would stand in the corner and fist pump the whole night. What made it so ridiculous is he kept up this routine every Friday for the entirety of freshman year. John, if you are out there, keep doing you, my man. Walked in on 2 girls giving out blowjobs to 5 guys. Sadly, or not, I became guy number 6. Went to a tailgate party at a large house my freshman year of college. Not many people were there as it was still early in the day before the game. Out of nowhere comes about 6 frat bros dressed as Oompa Loompas. Orange skin, green hair and the whole outfit. Just walked into the backyard, singing their songs and doing as bad a cartwheel as they could. I spit out my drink when I first saw them doing those cartwheels, haha. I watched a girl I knew get ducked by a couple different guys in the hot tub right in the middle of the backyard. Watched a guy I knew take a shot of PSS thinking it was tequila. Saw my friend get kicked out a party, so he backed his huge lifted truck into their front yard and did a brake stand in their lawn until he was stuck. Then threw it in 4x4 and drove off. This was in the early 2000s. Buddy had a F250 with a 10 lift on 38 tires. The holes he left were ducking huge. This guy ate a Luna moth. I was on a lot of mushrooms and had never seen one before, and then this guy got egged on by our friends and ate one. He said it was like a dusty piece of thick lettuce. It made me pretty sad, and I'm still sad when I think about it. About 2 months later, the same kid at the same house ate another one. Those were the only 2 times in my life I've ever seen Luna moths. In high school, we were camping out in the woods and drinking and smoking around a fire. Some little douchebag somehow latched onto us and came with us to the party. And we weren't about to be DCKS and tell him to take a hike. He was actually being pretty good. We were having good time, joking and laughing and playing games. As the night progresses, we get pretty drunk and, as a joke, he picks up a fork and just stabs it deep into my friend's leg. My friend jumps up screaming and pulls the fork out. And the kid immediately realizes he's ducked up bad. While tending to my friend, another guy basically makes the kid gather up his shit and get the duck out of there. He ended up getting home fine somehow, as I saw him in school on Monday. But I did worry if he was going to be okay. Stumbling through the woods at night, by himself, in the dark, and then onto a road where God knows how he would get a ride before cell phones. I witnessed a girl pass out on my friend's porch and then get humped by his dog. The dog was always humping whatever he could find, and she was no exception. Brock Turner and Hooch. Work trip. Weird lady from accounting joins us on a rooftop hotel bar area we had taken over. The talk turns to weird things you can find online, and I mention furniture PRN. The woman is incredulous. Wants to know if it's really a thing. How many websites? How widespread? Etc. Discussion moves on and more shots and drinks are consumed. About an hour later, accounting lady beckons us to a further part of the roof area where she has taken the deck chairs and created a PRN scene. She is wild-eyed and very detailed in her description of the white plastic lounge chair doing reverse cowgirl with the metal dining chair, and the 3-way between the brass stool and 2 end tables. It was so detailed and graphic we just stood there speechless.